Hey everybody, this is James from Rattlesnake Defense. Today I have something new to me. This is Savage Axis scope package in a 400 Legend. This is a brand new gun in the box. I haven't taken it out of the box, so this is a whole new gun, a whole new caliber for me, so we can learn about it together. One of the reasons I want to do this video is, as a dealer, I sold a lot of 300 Legends for youth rifles in my area. And I know the needs are different in every area, but in my area, it was always customary to start younger hunters on a 243 or maybe a 308 or 7M08. So the 350 Legend actually found a lot of popularity in my area because it's a pretty high knockdown, pretty low recoil rifle that was really good for youth. And the limitations of range and some of the other stuff weren't that big of a factor in an area where most shots are 100 yards or more. You can't see any further than that because there's trees everywhere. So the 400 is supposed to be an improvement upon that, which is just a bigger bullet. And my question really is it because it's a bigger bullet and the velocity and everything, is it going to be wimpier or better than the 350 Legend? So let's unbox this brand new Savage and see what we think. Alright, so still got the receipt. This is Savage Axis 400 Legend camo. This is the one that comes from the factory with the scope and mounts and everything. So we're going to test all of this together. I'm going to get it put together, get the tags off. If you know about the Axis, I know a lot of people look down on these guns. I understand that they're cheap. Also, keep in mind they're cheap. At a firearm store, you sell a lot of these because this is one of the bread and butters of new hunters and somebody looking to get into something that don't want to spend a fortune on an entry level rifle. So for the dollar, this gun was $439, like it is with the scope and everything. That's pretty easy entry for something like this. So, but the main thing is we want to see if it shoots any good. So I guess the first thing we have to do is get it sighted in. So let me get some shells and we'll get to that. All right, so after doing the old school look through the bore, line the sights up from a rest bore sight, want to see how close we got doing it the old-fashioned way. Now the scope on this gun is a Weaver 3-9x40. I can already tell you focus is a little bit of a problem. The target's set up at 50 yards for sighting in, and it's a little bit blurry. So I don't know how much a factor the scope will be and what happens next, but we'll find out. That being said, let's get a couple, I don't know where I set my let me grab my magazine. There we go. Get a couple rounds loaded. Let's see what our very first impressions are. I know that Savage isn't a lot of people's favorites. I know the Axis is a gun, especially online, that's looked down upon a little bit. If you like higher end stuff, I got a video coming. I got a Horizon review if you're into a bit nicer things. I try to do a little bit of everything. All right, 3 rounds. Off. Well, first thought, the trigger pull is awful. Of course, this is the one without the AccuTrigger. I know you can get it with the AccuTrigger. Recoil is fairly light. It's a little bit loud. Yeah, trigger pull's a problem. That's something, if you were going to try to precision shoot this thing, you'd have to deal with. But otherwise, everything's functioning like it's supposed to. The scope, I'm shooting low right. It shoots like a large caliber gun, which is understandable. Kind of puts me in mind of like a 450 Bushmaster, something in that range. Given as light as the gun is, I think the recoil is relatively light. It doesn't hurt at all. The gun seriously has some energy. So let me get the scope dialed in and we'll try some shots at 100. So if anybody's not sure, the 400 Legend is just a straight cased. It's a follow-up on the 350 Legend that was introduced. I think the main purpose, according to the people I talked to, was that there's a lot of places where straight walls the only thing that's allowed to shoot. Now here in West Virginia we can use whatever we want. I know plenty of people that blow the soul out of a deer with the 300 Win Mag at like 20 yards. But this can be used in states, and you have to check your local laws on that. Not an expert on the out-of-state hunting laws, but the idea is it's a closer range, higher knockdown, lower recoil. As you can see, for me, I'm not a huge guy, but the recoil's close to a 308 or something of that nature, but the bullet hits with a lot more energy at close range, for sure. So let's try some range stuff. All right, so we got a 3-shot group at 100. Got it sighted in. I can tell you it hits pretty hard. I'm going to try to demonstrate that as best I can with what I got out here. We got a steel target out at about 110. I'm going to hit it, hopefully hit it a couple times. This thing seems like it has a lot more energy than I was expecting. I'm not sure if the report of that steel getting hit comes all the way back through the microphone, but it's hitting hard. Now we got some targets up the hill a little bit. We could try a couple longer range shots here. Little low at 150. Not a long range gun, but I feel like inside of 100 it's got lots of knockdown power. The biggest complaints, of course, are going to be that the trigger is awful. If I was going to buy one of these, I highly recommend getting one with the AccuTrigger on it. The scope is okay. It's enough to go out and get an animal with if you want to hunt with it, but it's not something that I would recommend you keep on the gun. I'd probably upgrade that as soon as I can. But given the price difference between these that come with the scopes and without, it's probably worth having one unless you have a scope laying around or something you want to install on it. Of course, the Savage action is pretty smooth. It's not a bad looking gun by any means, but it does, you know, the ammo, it's new. I'm usually not into like the new calibers that much. This one seems like it has a purpose. I'm just not sure if it's different enough from, say, a 450 Bushmaster or something like that to justify the cost of purchasing a new gun. Unless you, again, if you're looking for something brand new, this is interesting. I just don't know how long it's going to be around. You guys know I'm a 308 30-06 kind of guy. The recoil is mild, especially given the calibers. Plenty of knockdown power. Great brush gun. You know, if you're like me and you have some teenagers at home and they're just getting to where they start to hunt by themselves, you don't know if it's something they're going to stick with. You want a lower price gun, especially if you want to keep the range limited. This doesn't have very much range. The bullet seems like it's dropping out of the air at about 200 yards. This is a good option. So give it a look if you like it. If you don't like axes, I understand that too, but I'm not giving one of my kids one of my guns, I don't want them to beat it up. So I'm sure you guys understand that too. So stay tuned. We got more coming.